Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a great day. Today I'm going to be reacting to another video by Jaiden Animations, her most recent video called So It's Been 10 Years, Huh? And let's all be honest, that is a very impressive achievement, being able to be well known on YouTube for a decade. I know that Rebecca Parham recently just celebrated being on YouTube for 10 years, so you really have to admire that type of dedication. I'm really curious to see what type of video this will actually be. Will it be like a flashback of like some of her older videos? Will it be like a more of like a journey type of video explaining how she got started and how she felt about making YouTube videos, how it might have fluctuated or something? I don't know. So we'll figure out what's going on. Either way, it'll probably be a good video. So the link to the original video will be in the description below. Please like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get watching this.
As of now, Jaiden Animations is officially 10 years old.
Impressive.
Yes, I know I technically made the channel in February, but shut up, I don't count that. On July 23rd, 2014, I uploaded my first ever animation to YouTube.
Hey everyone, my name is Jaiden.
Wow.
Alright, that's enough, you get the point. It's
Hold on, let's go back to that real quick.
Hey everyone, my name is Jaiden.
Can we say it's like impressive and interesting, like how your style kind of changes over time? I mean, the basic animation looks pretty similar, but obviously there's a significant difference in the hairdo. And it sounds like the audio quality is better with more recent videos, which would make sense. I mean, she's got more experience, more money, more time. But I think it's nice to like look back and realize, wow, that's what I was doing back then. I think anyone out there who does YouTube either as a career or as a hobby, you know, go back down memory lane every now and again and realize how you started and always look for ways to improve.
Alright, that's enough, you get the point. It's kind of old news that a lot of content creators have started retiring, especially after hitting the old 1-0. Making content on YouTube for 10 years has significantly changed the entire trajectory of my life. I started Jaiden Animations when I was 16. At the time, I was super shy, quiet, anxious, knew nothing about the world. I could count the number of friends I had on one finger. But not in a sad way, I liked my simple little life. For the longest time,
All right, well, there was a little bit to unpack there. I mean, I wasn't aware that Jaiden dealt with like a lot of anxiety growing up. I mean, it kind of makes sense because, you know, the stereotype of people who do like stuff online for a living, the stereotype is they're kind of socially awkward or anxious. So it makes sense. But also, I didn't know that lots of YouTubers retired after 10 years. I mean, if anyone out there has been doing YouTube for a long time and happens to be watching this video, can you explain why that's a thing? I mean, is it like this kind of like unspoken cultural YouTube rule, or is it just something that's kind of developed? I'm curious.
I didn't even realize YouTube had channels or that people were uploading things like vlogs and series and skits.
Really?
I mean, it was definitely less established at the time compared to now, but
Yeah.
I saw YouTube as just the place to watch funny cats and compilations of people getting hit in the crotch. The way I found out about this whole online world was after coming home from school one day to find my laptop not turning on, meaning I couldn't play Minecraft anymore.
Oh.
We've all been there, it's tragic.
Alright, I can't say that I've been there. I'll admit, haven't played Minecraft yet, not sure if I will, but yeah, it's crazy how much things change within like a decade. I mean, it sounds like back in the day, back in the 2010s, YouTube was just a fun little site. But now it's like, there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube. You obviously got Minecraft videos, you got reaction videos, you got gaming videos other than Minecraft. You got all kinds of stuff on here. You got vlogs, like she said, so it's kind of crazy how much it's changed. And I'm all for change, but I think sometimes we have to remember that, you know, it wasn't always crazy like this. It was a little bit more simple, and I think we should just reflect on that. Especially like anyone out there who's trying to do YouTube for like a career and just starting out, has no clue what they're doing.
Don't expect like instant fame or like thousands of subscribers overnight. It's just not gonna usually work like that.
So be happy with slow progress, and remember that YouTube wasn't always fast-paced like this. It was kind of slow burn for a while.
To satisfy my desperate Minecraft hyperfixation, I typed Minecraft into the YouTube search bar to see if anyone just so happened to upload any Minecraft-related videos. And oh, were there people uploading Minecraft-related videos. My world expanded exponentially at that very
Wow.
moment. YouTube channels, subscribers, people uploading content for an audience that looks forward to their videos. The first channel I ever subscribed to was a Minecraft YouTuber
Cool.
who... I don't even, I'm blanking on the name, but I was now aware of YouTube as an actual community beyond funny fail compilations. Watching videos became a huge part of my day-to-day life. I put stuff on when I wanted to relax, laugh, needed background noise. If I was having a tough day, I would...
Yeah, I'm glad that Jaiden's perspective like broadened so quickly after really looking up like Minecraft videos on YouTube. It's crazy like how YouTube has the ability to like just broaden your horizons. I think you can say that with most social media and most video sites. I mean, it just makes so much sense that like, you get to see things from people and experiences that you'd never be able to do in real time, or at least not easily in real time. So overall, I think it's a pretty good thing that we have access to this technology now because we get more perspectives, but I think that all of us need to remember that we as a community, as a species, we are more important like than our technology. Like actually having real connection, like one-on-one or in a group setting, I think it's more satisfying in some ways than doing it online. Because doing it online, meeting people online and talking to people online, sure, it's easy, but it just doesn't have the same kind of oomph that meeting people in person does. So make sure you keep that in mind if you're trying to like expand your horizons a bit.
lock myself in my bathroom, lay on the floor, and watch videos on my phone.
Wow.
And I'd feel better. Even
Okay, from the pose, you didn't look better, Jaiden. You looked like you were going through like a depressive episode, like that, all curled up on your bathroom rug. But I'm glad it helped.
before making content myself, YouTube was an essential part of my life. I branched out from Minecraft to general gaming videos, even the occasional vlog series, until I stumbled upon a very special video in my suggested feed.
What?
An animated story time from a YouTuber called Domics. It was
Okay.
his emails video. I remember it so clearly. After watching it, I immediately binged his whole channel. I loved his animated
Wow.
stories. They made me laugh so much.
You gotta admire the dedication. Being able to like just binge someone's entire channel within like, I guess a day or however long it takes. I freaking salute you, Jaiden.
I don't think I would have the patience to do that. Even if it's something funny, even if it's something interesting, I don't think I could keep it up for like maybe more than a few hours.
For the first time ever, I thought to myself, I want to do stuff like that.
Here we go.
I want to animate. And around the same time, I was really into Aya's Cupquake's Minecraft Oasis series and had
Okay.
even sent in a few fan arts I drew for her. She posted a couple at the end of her videos, which genuinely made me so extremely happy. I was totally freaking out. Anyway.
That's nice. I'm glad that she posted Jaiden's fan art because a lot of the times it seems like at least some of the stereotypes of like really successful creators is they really don't pay attention to the fans. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them do, but the stereotype of like influencers or really famous people on YouTube or just really famous people in general. The stereotype is, they just don't pay attention to the normal people. You know what I mean? They sometimes might forget where they came from. So it's nice that this YouTuber gave Jaiden some credit.
In one of the episodes, she mentioned that she wanted to find an animator to animate some of her funny Minecraft moments.
Okay.
And suddenly, I saw the stars align in front of me. I sent
Those
her
are
a little
planets,
message
Jaiden.
attached to another fan art, basically saying, "Hi, Cupquake. I'd love to animate for you if you're interested." And she ended up reaching out and was like, "Hey, we love your style and would love to work with you. Do you have an animation portfolio we can look at?" To which I responded with, So I've never actually animated before, but I'm learning, and honestly,
Well, at least she's honest about it. But this has got to be like one of the most overwhelming and yet gratifying things that young Jaiden ever experienced. I mean, being able to work with someone, or at least have the opportunity to work with someone that she respects. I think all of us, if we have like an intense interest in like animating or really anything for that matter, we should all be so lucky as to have this type of experience. So good for young Jaiden.
They shouldn't have hired me. I wouldn't have hired me. But
Really?
somehow I had secured my first animation job.
Cool.
And for my favorite YouTuber, this was by far the biggest thing to ever happen to me at the time.
Sounds like it.
I wanted to make the best animation they could ever ask for.
Makes sense.
Now, I just had to learn how to animate. No joke, I literally typed how to animate and Adobe Flash tutorial into the YouTube search bar.
Wow, I mean, I guess to really use an old-timey phrase, you kind of put the cart before the horse, Jaiden. I mean, being all excited about animating when you don't know how to animate, that potentially could have been a fatal error, but obviously it seemed to have worked out because you made it to this point.
That's how I learned. No class or school or nothing.
Cool.
I vividly remember opening Adobe Flash for the first time and wishing I could just skip forward in time to when I already knew how to even use the program
no, the look
because
of
I was
dread.
so confused. Humble beginnings, what can I say? And honestly, that's
You know, that really makes a lot of sense. Whether you're doing animation or really anything for the first time, if you're trying to get any new skill, it can be overwhelming.
Like, when I tried to start doing YouTube videos, just like this past year, I really didn't have a clue what I was doing. I really had to look up how to make reaction videos.
And I'm still probably gonna have to look up some more stuff if I get better equipment and have better effects sometime down the road. I mean, I think I'm doing okay for just having one camera and one editing software, but still, I think I need to learn more, so let that be a lesson to anyone out there who's learning something new. It's probably going to be overwhelming at first, but don't quit, okay? I realize it can be tough for any new skill, but with practice, you can become very proficient at it, and you'll start to enjoy it, and it won't be as intimidating. So, just try your best, and hopefully things will get better.
all it takes. People ask me all the time how I learned to animate, how I do this and that, what program to use. But you already have the biggest source of free online information
Yeah.
at your fingertips. Just type whatever you want to learn into the search bar and people will
How to
literally
use
teach it
Blender.
to you, no strings attached. While working on
Oh,
the
wait.
animation for Cupquake and
Okay, I got confused for a second. I thought like she was typing in like how to use like the Blender like the appliance, not like Blender like the program. I feel so stupid. I haven't used Blender either. But yeah, Jaiden is totally right though. I mean, YouTube and pretty much all the internet, like pretty much all the world's information, nearly all the world's information is literally at your fingertips. So yeah, you could just literally type in what you want and find it for free. And you can be pretty skilled at almost anything you put your mind to. So make sure you don't forget, you have access to YouTube for a reason other than just killing time and making you laugh. It can actually make you smarter if you use it the right way.
her husband Red. I talked to them about how I also wanted to make YouTube videos, that I wanted to animate little stories, but was too nervous. They were both really
Understandable.
supportive and encouraging,
That's
saying
nice.
they'll put a link to my channel in the description of the animation to help me and stuff. I'll be
Cool.
completely honest, if Cupquake and Red didn't hire me and offer to help give me that initial push to start a YouTube channel, I wouldn't have made Jaiden Animations. Like I
Wow.
mentioned, I was quiet and soft-spoken. I didn't even get picked on because
Wow, you have to admire Jaiden's like just appreciation for Cupquake and her husband in order to give her the support she needed. Because I think sometimes when people really get successful, they potentially can forget who helped them beginning, where they came from. They sometimes might think their success was their own doing, which sometimes it is, but many times it's not. So it's nice to see that Jaiden is humble about where she started.
nobody knew anything about me to bully me with. They had
Cool.
nothing. In what world would a tiny little 16-year-old dust mite of a girl feel confident
Aw.
enough to start an animation YouTube channel?
What a negative way to portray yourself. A dust mite of a girl.
That just sounds so, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-depreciating, I think that's the word. So, yeah, I mean, I think all of us probably go through those times where we just don't have very high opinion of ourselves. We think we're worthless or that we can't do anything. But you can do pretty much nearly anything you put your mind to if you try hard enough and with the right support system. Like, if you have a goal in mind, I pretty much guarantee that you can accomplish it, within reason. Obviously, you can't do everything, that you would imagine, because some things you just can't do. Like, I don't think there's one person that can, I don't know, solve poverty or immediately stop climate change. I'm pretty sure those are big problems that need a lot of people working on them. But I think in most cases, though, you can do nearly everything you want to do, any goal that you have, with enough determination and enough support. You can do it.
She talks about her life, especially for what would be a single-digit amount of people for who knows how long. I'll tell ya, she does it in a world where she feels encouraged and inspired by the people she looked up to. There's so many timelines where none of this ever happened. So much had to come together just for me to start.
Yeah,
And
sounds about
against
right.
all odds, it did. I finished the animation, they posted it, and I spent pretty much the entire month reading every single comment.
Wow.
Everyone loved it. It was doing really well. I remember messaging Cupquake a giant.
Wow, you know that it was successful if Jaiden literally spent the vast majority of a month reading the comments. So, you know that had to be pretty good. I can only imagine how positive this was for her self-esteem, or really how positive it could be for anyone's self-esteem who's trying this for the first time. I swear, if I had dozens or hundreds of comments on any of my videos, I would be ecstatic. I'm glad that Jaiden got that recognition early. I can only imagine that's what propelled her to reach the heights that she's reached today.
Soppy thank you paragraph when the video hit 1 million views.
Wow.
By the way, the entire animation was made on only 3 layers because any
Wow.
more would make my brain confused. I genuinely cannot believe they hired me. At the same time, I posted my very first video as Jaiden Animations, introducing myself and announcing that I'm gonna try out making animation videos. It's funny looking back at because if you don't know all the context, you'll watch my first video and be like, who is this dumbass talking to? She just started the channel. There's no audience yet. The shout out Cupquake gave me in the description.
Yeah, that is funny. Like, it makes sense though. I mean, if you're just starting out as like a YouTuber or an animator or whatever you want to do, and just state that you're going to try to reach this goal, but no one else knows the support that you have, they're going to think that you're just either arrogant or potentially delusional, or maybe both. But obviously, Jaiden isn't either of those things. She had a strong support system, and she still does. I mean, last I checked, she has a team that helps her animate. And she is not delusional by any stretch of the imagination. It seems like she's a very down-to-earth YouTuber. So, yeah, anyone out there who's, like, watching a YouTuber's first video, don't try to discount them, okay? Just try to support them and try to realize, you know, maybe they have more help and more support than they appear to have at first glance.
Gave me the boost I needed to shake the second thoughts. I gained 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers right out the gate, and
Impressive.
ever since then I wanted to keep making more content, and I was really excited about it. I made more animations for Cupquake for a couple of years alongside posting my own stupid little videos until eventually parting ways with them to focus entirely on Jaiden Animations. Working with
It's nice to see that she was working with Cupquake for a decent amount of time before going on her own path, because that makes total sense. You have to really get experience, like, working with someone for a while before you really start trying to make it big on your own. I know there are some people that can make it big on their own in certain things, in certain situations, but I think for the vast majority of people,
You need help. You need support. You need guidance.
so I'm glad that Cupquake provided Jaiden with that necessary support before she officially really started kicking things into high gear.
them was amazing, and those animations did overwhelmingly well at the time. Like,
Cool.
I look back and am still shocked. I apparently peaked with that damn 2014 FNAF animation. Come on, Nuzlocke. Surpass it, please. Free me from these shackles. By the time I was in college now, and even though I wasn't able to post very much at all, things were doing really well. I
Good.
remember sitting on the top of my dorm bunk, secretly celebrating hitting 100,000 subscribers, a milestone I was beyond thrilled about, and honestly,
That's understandable. If I ever get to 100,000 subscribers, I would be over the freaking moon. But I just want to bring this up real quick. Anyone out there who's thinking about starting YouTube, don't do it only for the subscribers and the likes and the views and the comments. If you want to do anything, any new skill, do it because you like it. Currently, I make reaction videos just because I recently got the confidence to do it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying making my reactions, I'm enjoying making my short videos, and it's a lot of fun. So make sure that you do this for the right reasons. do it because you enjoy it first and foremost. And if you happen to get like fame or a lot of monetary success, then good. But make sure you do it because you enjoy it.
Was my biggest goal at the time. Somehow my roommate ended up finding out about it and immediately told every single person on our floor, which embarrassed the hell out of me. But at the same time, I was sheepishly proud of myself that people thought what I was doing was cool. Along with new experiences, for the first time ever, I was making online friends and becoming part of a growing little animation community. Cypher Den, Tony V Tunes, Lightsen. I even stumbled onto James randomly after being recommended his ASMR video. I specifically remember going through his channel and thinking,
that's nice. I recognize some of those YouTubers. And let me know in the comments if you think I should react to any of their material as well. But it's nice to see that Jaiden managed to connect with people online that happen to share her interests. I think when you meet people online, those I think are the best people to meet because more likely than not, you're going to be able to get along with them. Sometimes we meet people online, we've all heard borderline horror stories of things that have gone wrong when you meet people online. So it's nice to see that Jaiden had positive experiences.
I can't believe this guy doesn't have more subscribers. He's so funny. And well, would you look at that. After finishing my first year in college, I ended up talking to my...
Wow, is that like a current representation of James's follower count or subscriber count? That is impressive. Nearly 20 million subscribers? Man, how talented you gotta be to pull that off. James, I salute you. Anyone else who has remotely that many subscribers or more, you have earned my respect big time.
Parents about taking a gap year to see where all this YouTube stuff could go. They were, of course, hesitant at first. Making videos on YouTube for money? Can you even do that? But eventually agreed and...
All right, well, it's nice that they agreed like when it was all said and done, but it's understandable that they were hesitant because, you know, everything in society says, you know, you gotta go to college, you gotta get a job, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And for the longest time, it seems like there just wasn't much flexibility regarding how you made a living, regarding like how you became, you know, a proper adult, you know what I mean? But now that we have social media and we have YouTube and all these things, now there's more flexibility and it seems like you can make a living doing practically anything. You don't have to go do the whole 9-to-5 grind if you can find a way to support yourself and educate yourself that makes sense.
I've been my biggest fans ever since. I was officially doing YouTube full-time. I don't really know what happened, but a few months later, James started blowing up. In our little animation group chat, we were like, whoa, James, congrats, what's happening? And he was like, I don't know, oh my god. And then I started blowing up too, and suddenly the entire Storytime animation community was rising and thriving. It felt like we were strapped on.
Wow, that is just, it's so crazy how that can happen. I mean, I personally haven't gotten remotely close to that level of like popularity or acknowledgement, which is understandable. My channel's only been around for like a year, less than a year. So it's understandable. But wow, it's so crazy how it can be like that though with anything. And I can only imagine how gratifying that is for people who do this for a living. They're like relatively obscure, then boom, nearly everybody and their grandma knows who these folks are. So I can only imagine how thrilled they are to experience this.
To a rocket heading straight for the stars. People really loved watching Storytime animation. We went to our first ever VidCon and there was a whole line of people that wanted to meet us, which is a crazy experience for our first convention ever. Since then, everything has kind of just been history. I kept posting, obviously, met new people, made incredible friends, started building my own animation team, learned a lot about the world, but most of all, being on YouTube forced me to grow thicker skin. I'm sure most of you can relate to some degree. Mindless hate, online arguments, people nitpicking and...
Yeah, unfortunately, that is really... It's kind of like the yin and the yang of like the internet in general, but especially YouTube and social media. It's like you have access to all these people who could potentially really like your material, and yet you have access to haters too. Or rather, haters have access to you. They're like,
oh, you know, your videos suck, your quality's terrible. Why'd you say it like this? You mispronounced that word, yada yada, whatever.
And that is so frustrating because I don't get the whole point of just spewing random hateful things on people's YouTube videos. I mean, what's it gonna accomplish? You're not gonna change people's minds. You're not gonna stop people from doing what they enjoy with your random hate, okay? Anyone out there who leaves hateful comments, just stop. You're really not gonna accomplish anything.
Speculating that you're actually a horrible human being because of how
man.
normalized posting content is now with TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'm sure everyone has gotten their fair share of the hate hammer, but 10 years ago, it was pretty much only big online personalities who were familiar with it, and it comes at you pretty fast. Suddenly, you have to figure out how to hide your personal information and tell family members to private their Facebook accounts, which they don't know how to do. Scary emails come in, uncomfortable comments, lots of uncomfortable comments.
Oh, okay, well, this guy looks ominous right here. I just paused.
Being anonymous online means that you could pretty much say anything to anyone and there's almost no consequences. Unless your comments somehow cause serious psychological harm, you can say whatever mean stuff you want, and it's just really bad for people who are in the public eye, like Jaiden. Like, millions of people watch Jaiden, so millions of people are scrutinizing her, and some of them leave really nasty comments, and it's just really bad news. If you just watch YouTube videos, which I'm assuming nearly everyone in the world does, the vast majority of people, don't leave hateful comments, okay? Just because you can say anything you want online doesn't mean you should, okay? Just be nice.
I got doxxed one time because someone
Whoa,
speculated
wait.
I was a narcissistic liar because I claimed to be shy and introverted, but would get loud sometimes when reading
What?
scripts. Also, fun fact, I never
Okay, that's kind of mean. To be honest, I'm not even sure what doxed is. I mean, it sounds pretty serious, or at least borderline sinister. If anyone out there knows what that means, please let me know in the comments.
planned on being public with my full name, but the reason it got leaked is because my old high school published an online article about my
Oh,
channel
no.
and dropped the full government without my permission. I'm still pissed about that one, and I
Wow.
know this is genuinely what you just have to expect when you make content online. It's awful, but it's the truth. I didn't want to quit, so I adapted to the horrible things awful videos made about me for attention. There's nothing
That's good. It's nice to see that she didn't completely crumble under the pressure. It's like that old saying goes, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That totally makes sense. Even when it comes to things like making YouTube videos, you can't let the negativity get to you. You can learn about it. I mean, you can try to understand it, but you can't let that drag you down. Otherwise, the haters win. And we do not want the haters to win. Everyone out there who's making YouTube videos or anything on social media, anything online, and you're getting hate comments, just let it just bounce off and don't take it too seriously and just adapt and things will typically be better.
passerby hate comment can say that could surprise me anymore. If anything, they're all the same and it's just annoying at this point. Not saying
Okay.
I'm happy that I went through all of it and it should have happened. People can be genuinely awful. But I'd like to say I've come out of it all a version of myself that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Not because of all the shitty things, but in spite of them. I've learned how to stand up for myself.
Yeah, that was a perfectly good way to describe it, Jaiden. It makes total sense because only when you deal with the adversity can you become more resilient and just a better person in general. Obviously, the bad stuff shouldn't have happened, but without negativity, without adversity, it's really difficult to grow as a person. So just keep that in mind. You gotta take the good with the bad.
Grew my confidence, learned how to separate myself from my work and not take comments personally. All
Right.
things you learn out in the world over time as you grow up. But crank to 100 and during the most insecure years of a person's life. It was hard, but hey, I'm still here, aren't I?
Yeah,
I look
you
back
are.
and see my mistakes, bad takes, stupid ideas, regret here and there. It's overwhelming.
This just makes total sense, not only for being a YouTuber, but just life in general. Life, you should always take the time to review what you did. Review essentially the bad takes, the mistakes you made in life, and you should learn from them. That way you don't repeat it again, and also that way you can teach other people not to make your mistakes. So I think lots of people unfortunately have an aversion to learning from their mistakes, which doesn't really make much sense at all, because if you don't learn from your mistakes, you'll keep making them and you won't make progress. So just do your best to learn from your mistakes and don't beat yourself up whenever you make them.
Stressful to grow up and learn and change while in the public's eye, even more
Yeah.
now than ever. But all things considered, I believe I was always trying my best in the position I was in.
Good.
Was constantly trying to be the best person I could be, and I won't ever be upset at myself for that. Also,
Alright.
I do want to say a big thing that's followed me throughout almost my whole career at this point is the fact that yeah, I've talked about mental health and things I've struggled with at the time, like anxiety, depression, rock bottom confidence, etc.,
Alright.
etc. I've definitely spilled my guts out on the floor in front of the internet a couple times in my day.
I appreciate that Jaiden is willing to talk about these things, because let's be honest, there's still a lot of stigma when it comes to mental health, when it comes to like anxiety or depression or potentially having thoughts of, unaliving yourself. Those are serious issues and they need to be discussed, but for some reason there's just lots of taboo about the subject, which is just really weird to me because mental health is a vital part of being human, so we should be talking about it more. So I'm glad that Jane has made a way to talk about these things in a way that's presumably not too graphic or intense and yet is relatable too. So good on you, Jaiden.
And there's no part of me that regrets it at all. A lot of
Good.
people have told me that they felt more understood or learned things about themselves through those
Awesome.
videos. But as a now adult that's had the time to grow and adapt and overcome these things, man, you guys kind of still think I'm a little bit pathetic. I see comments all the time when
That's funny. Man, it's a really funny drawing. But yeah, sometimes just people don't really understand what you've been through or what you've experienced, even when you tell them stories, because they only have like one little perspective. They don't really know what Jane has actually experienced, like how she internalized it, how it affected her, like personally. They just know how she portrayed it in her videos. So try not to make conclusions if like your favorite animator, YouTuber, or any online person tells you stuff they've gone through, because more often than not, you won't get a complete picture, and if you make assumptions, you'll just look like an idiot.
in my friends' videos or being involved in a big event, and so many people go, wow, I can't believe how far Jaiden's come from being this puny little scared teenager. I'm so proud of Jaiden really stepping out of her comfort zone here. She is just so brave for showing her face after dealing with such low confidence. That one's always funny because it can definitely come off like I should still be self-conscious, which
Yeah.
I'm not, by the way. I get
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that they're somewhat positive about it, but let's be honest, it sounds a little bit condescending too. Like, it sounds like they think that she should still be this shy, meek little YouTuber, and it seems obviously she's not. I mean, if she's managed to reach this level of success and fame, she must have a lot of self-confidence. So try not to focus on like how someone was in the past. Try to focus on how they are now in just the present moment, because that's the only moment that matters. How they act and how they think and how they react to things now is the only thing that matters, because you can't change the past. You can only focus on the present and, just try to be empathetic and open in the future.
what those comments are saying. I really do. But guys, not everything I do has to be brave. I'm just doing fun things with friends on camera. We don't need the 24/7 Jaiden cheer squad busting out the trophies and medallions every single time. And we also
But that actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's understandable based on like how shy she was when she was younger to like kind of think she's brave, but at the same time, she's just doing day-to-day stuff. Hanging out with your friends on camera isn't, inherently brave. It's just, they're just on camera and they're just hanging out, making videos together. It's not that big a deal. I don't want to go like on a soapbox or on a tangent too much. It's kind of like that whole idea of disabled people being viewed as brave for doing day-to-day stuff. Like if you see someone in a wheelchair and they're going grocery shopping or whatever, for some reason, there's a tendency to like give them praise or view them as brave, but they're just existing. They're not doing anything special, okay? They're just living their lives. So try not to give people excessive praise when they're just being themselves, okay? It's just kind of unnecessary and almost condescending, to be honest.
Don't need the Jaiden Defense Squad scrapping with anyone that says anything non-positive about me. It's the internet. People have the right to not like me for whatever reason. I
Yeah.
promise, it's okay. I'm an adult. I'm doing fine. I appreciate the concern. At this point, it just comes across like I'm very pathetic and puny and can't do anything.
I'm glad that Jaiden made that point because it's totally true. I mean, it's understandable if you really like a particular animator or a YouTuber, or if you respect anyone online or just respect someone famous in general, it makes sense for you to come to their defense. But in many cases, most people who are in the public eye have enough self-esteem to be able to handle negative stuff themselves. They don't need your help. I mean, it's well intended, but it's really unnecessary.
Now, somehow, a decade has passed. I'm
Yeah.
not the tiny, small 16-year-old who's afraid of everything and can't talk out loud for more than 15 minutes without straining her throat. That's true, by the way. I spent 15 minutes recording audio for my first video, and my throat was dead afterwards. It was
Wow.
pathetic. Now, I can record for an hour, which still hurts my throat. You can probably hear it, but that's a 400% improvement right.
Wow, that is impressive that she managed to, like, grow like such an impressive amount. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you've been doing something for a decade, you're obviously gonna get better at it.
You know, unless you're Squidward. His clarinet playing still sucks. And how long he's been on the air, I don't even know at this point.
But yeah, it makes sense. Like, anyone out there is struggling with something, like you're trying to learn a skill and you think you're not being able to like do it as well or as long as you'd like to do it, then just don't worry, just keep practicing, and more often than not, you will improve.
there. I'm 26, created hundreds of hours worth of content, have the most wonderful team in the world behind me, am surrounded by amazing friends, live with the most important person in my life, with the most important little creatures in my life. I've gotten
Sounds
to
great.
meet content creators I've looked up to, got to tour and travel the world with talented friends, talk on panels to hundreds of people who wanted to hear what I had to say.
Wow, this just sounds really impressive. It sounds like Jaiden is pretty much like living the dream when it comes to like how successful she's become. And I'm really happy for her. I want to say this though. Anyone out there who wants to be a YouTuber or an animator or like just gain a new skill in general, remember, not everyone becomes famous. Not everyone has the opportunity to travel the world. Not everyone has the opportunity to talk at expos and panels and stuff. Not everyone meets that level of success. Not everyone has to meet that level of success. As long as you're happy doing what you're doing, that is really the best success in my opinion. I mean, sure, would I like to eventually like rise up the ranks and become a relatively well-known YouTuber? Yeah. Am I gonna be heartbroken if I don't? No. I'm kind of happy where I am. I'd like to improve, but I'm not doing this just so I can improve. I'm doing this because I like it. And anyone out there who's making YouTube videos or anything, you should do it because you like it. And if the fame comes and the success comes, that's fine, but always do it because you enjoy it first and foremost. And everything else will just be like the cherry on top.
Been able to tell the people that inspired me how big of a role they've played in my career, and even got to stand next to them as an equal. I'm happy. Sure,
You
it's
should
always
be.
been and still is difficult dealing with the stress of being in a big spotlight. I went through some bad stuff, navigated rocky mental health, trusted people that hurt me, had
Oh,
to
man.
pretend not to be affected by things that were genuinely hurtful just to not empower people that wanted to see me break, all while in the eye of the public where one wrong step could crumble everything I've ever created.
Oh, man.
But I'm really happy with the place I'm at.
You know, that's good. Good for Jaiden. It's nice to see that she can, like, roll with the punches and go with the flow, because obviously, if you're in any successful place in your life, it's not all going to be sunshine and roses. There's going to be some difficulty. There's going to be some challenges. There's going to be people who don't like you, because, you know, sometimes people are jerks. Sometimes people just don't appreciate you. Sometimes people hurt you, and you just have to go with it and just try to adapt. And just at the end of the day, always try to be positive and look for the good. And it seems like Jaiden has been doing this in spades.
The person I've become and the environment I've built around me. So,
That's nice.
what's that leave me with now? A full decade, man. Damn. 10 years of the most difficult, enjoyable, terrifying, exciting, stressful, grateful, soul-crushing, unforgettably special moments of my life. How
I really like the way she described it, like with the most like polarizing ways of explaining it, like stressful and yet awesome, and soul crushing and gratifying. And I think that can be said for pretty much anything. But you should just always do your best to take that in stride because, sometimes you have to take the good with the bad, and there will be hard times and there'll be good times. And that goes for anything. So learn something from Jaiden. Just take the good with the bad, and things will just typically end up all right, I think.
lucky and grateful I am to have the privilege to say I've gotten to experience so many impossible things, to have so
Yeah.
many dreams created and come true, to see myself persist through such a difficult position to be in. After taking a lot of time reminiscing and thinking about what could come next, the direction I want to take to follow what could keep making me happy, I've come to accept that YouTube isn't gonna be part of it. I'm happy with what I've accomplished. I had my rise and grind.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Did I understand that correctly? Is Jaiden actually gonna quit being a YouTuber? I mean, obviously it's her choice, and I'm more than happy to support it, but I can't imagine how potentially devastated her subscribers will be. I mean, if she's been in the public eye for a decade, that means millions of people have seen her. Millions of people can relate to her, and this just seems like, I'm sure for most subscribers, it would seem like kind of like a punch to the face. I know she's not trying to do it intentionally, but that just sounds really disappointing. But again, it's Jaiden's choice, and whatever she decides to make her happy, that's what we as the subscribers, we have to accept.
Years I experienced real and true passion. That's all I could really ask for here. There's not much else I want to do beyond it at this point. But before you freak out, I'm not quitting right this moment. I
Okay.
still absolutely love making content and still have the desire to keep making videos.
That's good.
But my YouTube years are numbered now. I
Okay.
fantasize about logging off as Jaiden Animations and becoming a normal person again. I want to move to a random ass town in a random ass place, have a little house with my creatures, have a normal job with normal hours and normal problems.
I'm glad that she gave us this disclaimer that she's just not immediately quitting being a YouTuber. I appreciate that. But, it makes total sense that I think sometimes once you reach a point of success, you kind of realize that, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I've met my goals, I'm satisfied, but I think it might be time to downsize a bit. Just try to live like a, quote, normal person.
Sometimes you reach your goals and you're like, I'm happy with this. It's time to try something else. So I'm glad that Jaiden has come to this decision.
Live a life where people don't know who I am before I introduce myself. Not saying I don't like being recognized. You can come up to me, I promise, I don't mind. But eventually I just want to feel like a person again.
Okay.
Normal is rapidly changing nowadays, but I don't want this chronically online lifestyle forever. How
Okay.
nice it would feel to one day not have to triple check every single thing I say in fear of people's pitchforks, or fear for my safety when people maliciously leak my private information, or even be constantly surrounded by strangers' opinions on me and every version of my
Wow, in this case, living a life of relative obscurity actually sounds pretty good. I mean, if she has to deal with this type of stuff, this type of negative behavior all the time, it's understandable that you'd want to avoid it. So, that's a pretty good call, Jaiden.
myself I've ever been every moment of my life. I hold it all together pretty well, I'd say. I mean, it's my job to. And none of these negatives have and ever will outweigh the positive aspects of this incredible
good to know.
opportunity that you guys have allowed me to have. I don't want to come across like I'm complaining. I very much understand this is just unfortunately part of it all, and I'm very privileged and very grateful. But
Good.
I can't do it forever. And I don't want to. I want to feel like I have the time and mental energy to pursue new hobbies, experiment with other things that can make me
That's
happy.
good.
Making content for
That makes total sense. I think that you can't tie yourself down with one thing forever. If you're really good at it, if you've made a name for yourself, then that's a good thing. Jaiden obviously has made a name for herself, but you can't just limit yourself to that because, you have a whole life to live. She just said like a few minutes ago she was 26. She potentially has decades of life left that she could like, do practically anything, find new hobbies, meet new people, and that's something I think we should all be so privileged to be able to do one day. So it makes total sense that Jaiden wants to stop doing YouTube sometime and try new things. So that's good. Good for her.
YouTube never leaves my head. It's the case for every single content creator on the platform. There's no clocking out, there's no weekends, there's no breaks. You can't just leave an office and not think about it. You're constantly brainstorming ideas, managing everything, schedules, employees. Sure, you can work and live anywhere you want, go on vacation at any point, build your own schedule.
Sounds pretty good.
But it's always there, like a black hole in your mind. It's just so exhausting.
Whoa. Wow, really interesting facial expression right there. But, it makes total sense. I mean, if your whole job is YouTube, I mean, it exists pretty much everywhere. It's almost impossible to escape it. And I think that it does sound pretty exhausting. I mean, so I think that this little thing that Jaiden's saying right here, it could apply to pretty much anything. If you have something that is really taking over your life, then maybe once you get to a certain point, maybe you should cut ties with it. So that way you have time to do other things and you have time for your mental sanity and your emotional and physical health.
I haven't felt like I can sit back and enjoy something in 10 years because I simply do not have the time if it isn't for a video. Yeah, that's just how self-employment works, but don't forget about all the other fun stuff I've already mentioned on top of it all. I don't know what I want to do career-wise after retiring from YouTube, but I romanticize the idea of just getting to rediscover myself.
Wow.
Maybe I want to learn how to make custom plushes and open my own.
Yeah, if Jaiden ever made custom plushies, we know that they would probably sell very well. But what she was talking about before makes total sense. I mean, what's the point of being successful at something if it literally takes up all your time to the point you just can't enjoy life? To me, that doesn't really sound like a very good trade-off. Sure, you're really successful, you're making good money, and people recognize you, yet you don't have the time just to experience things? That really seems like a letdown, to be honest.
Little shop, take art commissions, be a teacher, maybe an art director. It's gotten to the point where I think about that little life every day, and I'm actively aiming and walking towards it with every decision I make. Oh, let me tell you, I genuinely cannot wait to live it one day. But there's this other side of me that's so terrified.
Ooh.
I've spent my entire young adult life in front of an audience, doing pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It's the other side of the coin. I mean, if you've been doing something well for a decade of your life, then trying to just give that up and figure out what you want to do next, that would be terrifying. That'd be terrifying for any career or any hobby. So that's really understandable.
One thing. I don't know what it's like to live without a platform, surrounded by a huge audience anymore. It scares me.
Understandable.
Like a lot. I don't want to need this, but I'm scared that I do in some way. When the time comes, I'll definitely work on that fear in therapy or something, but I do think about it a lot. I'm not done with YouTube just yet. I still want to make animations and tell stories, animate little gaming videos.
That's nice,
I
that's
still
good.
just love it so much, and I'm not going away just yet. So
What you were saying before was totally valid. If you've done something for so long, it can be scary giving it up and thinking that you might be dependent on this for the rest of your life. I mean, I don't think that anyone should be tied down to one thing to think that you have to be dependent on it, that you have to do this. You should be able to do what you want with your life. So I'm glad that Jaiden will be working on this and that she'll be able to get the help she needs to make this decision. But yeah, I'm glad that she's bringing this up.
sorry to disappoint some of you. I just wanted to let you guys know how grateful I am that you've helped me be right here. I've gotten to meet hundreds of people who told me how much they liked my videos,
That's
felt
nice.
inspired, discovered something about themselves, even did something as small as laugh at one of my stupid ass jokes. I can't wrap my head around the idea that a lot of you grew up watching my videos and
Wow.
are like functioning people in society now. That one always feels like. I know you're not calling me old, but you're calling me old. I'm grateful for all the
Yeah, it is crazy when you think about it. If Jaiden's been online for 10 years, then the people who were little kids watched her videos and are now adults themselves. So it's crazy that basically a whole generation of people could have been growing up watching this one human being. That's just almost mind-boggling when you think about it. The fact that one person on YouTube has potentially managed to influence and inspire so many young people. So that's actually a pretty cool thing, Jaiden.
Art people have drawn for me. Even now, it's still so surreal. From the cute little doodles from kids to jaw-dropping, fully rendered pieces from
Whoa.
artists of all ages.
Wow, that is actually very impressive. I could not remotely produce something that good in a million years. What's the artist? Pink Bread? Yo, Pink Bread, you have definitely earned my respect. There's no way I could ever do something that detailed.
Like, you guys are better artists than me at this point. What do you mean I inspired you? Why does my art
Wow.
look like that then? The whole reason I show fan art at the end of my videos is because I look back at the feeling I got when Cupquake put my art in her
that's
videos,
nice.
and I want to be able to give that back to other artists. People
All right, not sure what's happening here, but yeah, I mean, that's just such a good point. And I'm glad that Jaiden wants to pay it forward because, like, she really got her start, it sounded like, when Cupquake, like, kind of, like, noticed her fan art. So she wants to make sure that other artists feel the same way. And I think all successful people should try to encourage other people within their craft, or just people in general, to just do their best. So I'm glad that Jaiden's doing that right now.
have told me they watch my videos to laugh, listen to while working, to feel better after a crummy day. All the ways I used to consume YouTube back in my day. Even though it's easy for me to tell myself, they're just little stupid videos I make. What's the big deal? It kind of also feels like I get to contribute to a cycle I used to be on the other side of and pay
Aw.
it back. I don't know, it just feels good.
No, that makes total sense. Like, she was in that place at one time. Like, she was just using YouTube videos just to, like, just be happy and sometimes get through the day. And it's nice that the fact that she wants to do the same thing for other people. So good job, Jaiden.
Knowing I've made stuff that's made people feel better in a way that other content creators used to make me feel better.
Yeah.
I've rambled quite a bit, but thank you for letting me make these silly videos for 10 years. I never would have thought any of this could have happened to little old me, and definitely
Understandable.
not for this long. I absolutely thought I would have been tossed aside and forgotten by now. I look back at when things were starting to roll, and I was like, I've got like a 3-year shelf life left. I'm forever grateful for you, my friends, my family, my team. I don't know what my life would have looked like if I didn't type Minecraft into the YouTube search bar when I
Wow.
was 14. Who knows?
Yeah, to think that all of this started because Jaiden couldn't play Minecraft on her laptop and watched Minecraft YouTube videos. It is crazy to think that one little decision dramatically changed the trajectory of Jaiden's life. And I think that can work for pretty much anybody. Seemingly the most insignificant action can potentially cause your life to go in a way that it never would have done so otherwise. So be open to new things and be open to new experiences because you never know what'll happen.
Knows how much more time we have with each other, but just know it has been and still is an honor to be here. And until
It's an
then,
honor to
I'll
watch.
be doing my best to keep doing what I've been doing for 10 years and just
Cool.
make these silly little animations.
Awesome. Well, guys, that was another great video by Jaiden Animations. I appreciate the credit that she gave to Cupquake and the people who supported her over the years, who really gave her a shot. And it's so crazy to think that one human being has managed to, like, help so many people just through putting story videos on YouTube. It's almost mind-boggling if you actually think about it. So I think we could all learn a lot from Jaiden's video. It was like very interesting and very deep and kind of like soul searching in a way, I guess would be a good way to describe it. Like, she was talking about her hurdles and the positive things that happened to her. And we just all learn a lot from Jaiden. Like, you should try to follow your passion, get support, but don't get too bogged down by it because, you know, there's a chance that it could consume your life. So try to find balance. And with enough support, you can be successful at whatever you do. Just try to be reasonable about it. Don't have unrealistic expectations. And if your expectations do get succeeded, if reality gets better than your expectations, try to, like, rein it in a little bit and always try to find new things to do, new things to learn, and just be a balanced human being. Overall, this was a great video. If you guys would like me to react to more Jaiden animation videos, let me know in the comments below. And also let me know, can you relate to Jaiden? Do you have like a passion or a career that you're really skilled at, but it's kind of taken over and you want to try something else? Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.